Yerushalmi Megillah Daf Chav Gimel Halacha Beis Oktev Mishnah Kara Sirugin. If you read the Megillah Sirugin, we'll see what that is. On a snam name, where he dozed off while you're reading it. Yatsa Yatsa. Hayikais for Darsha Umagia. Let's say he's either writing it or he's darshaning. He's giving a share in the Megillah. Magia is correcting it and keepingly by Yatsa. If he has in mind to be Yatsa, the mitzvah of Kriyas Megillah is Yatsa. Yatsa. Otherwise, he's not Yatsa. Haisik Suba. If it was written Besam Sikra Kumos Kalkantum. So if letter is written in these different kinds of ink, these are different colors. Kumas is a kind of sap, over calcantum. So in all these cases, al niyar was on paper, al diphthera was on diphthera, which is untreated leather, so it wasn't treated with gallnuts the way regular cloth is treated. Lo yatsi is not yaitza. I should take suba shudis as be written on shudis, al sefer b'diyah is written on a sefer. Bidiyah in ink. So thinking about Tani Sirugim Yatza, Sirusim Lo Yatza. If you read the Sirugim, like we said, the Mishnah is Yatza, Sirusim is not Yatza. Sirugin, what does that mean? Kituin, it means he reads a little bit, takes a break. And then he continues. What's Sirusim? Chad Para Chad. So he reads the psukim out of order. So he reads psukim 1, 3, then he goes back and reads pasuk number 2. So in these cases, he is not yaitz. Amar b'chayik sirugim chalak lugais umei gadol umi gadol b'chachma b'shanim etzriches lechavraya. They weren't sure on these items over here. They didn't know what a sirugim or a chalak lugais. And they didn't know who's better. Someone who's considered to be greater, and those to give more covetous, bechachma, somebody's wiser, or b'shanim, was it somebody that's older? It's so the Chaver didn't know. So Amr, they said, Nesek Nishul Beis Rebbe. Let's go ask Rebbe. Salkin is a similar story brought down in the Bavli. Salkin Mishal, so they of Amron, they wanted to go ask. Yotza Shivcha Mishal Beis Rebbe. So Shivcha comes out of Beis Rebbe. She's not very smart. Amr Slam, she says to him, Hikansu Lishanim. She said, go in the order of age. So there you go. That was answer number one. Who's greater? The age. Amrun Yel Plan Kami. Yel Plan Kami. Okay, this one should go in. This one should go in. Sharon Alun Kitan Kitan. So they started going in groups. Amr Lahem, it's a couple of people at a time. Amr Lahem, she said to them, Serugin. So they go. Now they would know what Serugin is. Chad Rabbi Avatar Parchinan Benaflamine. So one of the members of the group was carrying a kind of vegetable and it fell. Amr Lei. So she said to him, Rabbi Nispazru Chagluglugecha. Your Chagluglois fell down. So there you go. Now they had the answer. It was a kind of vegetable. Amr La. So she said to, I guess, her assistant, Asim Tateya, bring a broom. Vaisis Albina, she brought what we call today, she brought a broom. And this actually in the Bible this is brought down. The Metate they didn't know what Metate was. So the pasuk that they it's mentioned in the pasuk Metatoseh Matea Hashmeid. They didn't know what it was, and now they found out that it means a broom. Ramon Amar b'Shem Rabbi Yehuda Shama Mishum Rabbi Yossi Aglili Hifzik Bo Kedei Ligras says Kula Lo Yotzei Chabas. A person's reading the Megillah and he stops in the middle to take a very long break, so long he could have finished the entire Megillah in the meantime. He's not Yotze. Rabbi Rabbi Mishum Rav Halach Rab Mana Shama Mishum Rabbi Yehuda Shama Mishum Rabbi Yossi Aglili Hifzik Bo. That's Takada Halacha. Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Shimon Yotzadik Af Bahal v'Megillah Ken. The same halacha applies for Hal. So if you stop long enough to complete the whole Hal, and like we just said now, the Megillah, you're not Yotze. Abel Barchuna of Rav Chizda having Yasvin Amrin Av Betkiyas came. Same thing would apply by Tkiyas Shofar. If you have so long a hefsek that you could have finished all the kiyas, you're not Yotze. Salkon the base, according to Chaim Kanevsky, it's based Rabbi Shimon. Rav Chuna b'Shem Rav Afilu Shaman Atesha Shos Yatza. He disagrees. They said no, that you can hear even 9 hours. Not you hear one tekiya, a person has to hear Tesha tekiyas, and see if you have 1 hour, you're Yotze. Amar Rav Zura Adda Anot Hamon Itzrichesli. When I was living in Bavel, Taman over here first to Bavel. Sakas Lach, when I got here to Eretz Yisrael, Shamas Tam Rabbi Yosef B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan, I feel the Shaman Kol Yom Yatsa. Even if it took you all day to get through the 90 keys, you're Yaitse. V'hu Shaman, I'll say it, as long as he heard it in the correct order. So, Frek Rabbi Yosef, boy, Hay is that Tzarech L'Pshuta Rishayin. If it's Tzarech L'Pshuta Achroina, is Tekiah Achas Moitzia Deishneim. Let's say you have one person who heard his first group and he's up to the last one, and you have somebody who has to hear his first group, so he's up to the first Tekiah. Can one Tekiah, the guy blowing it, be Moitzi both people? No answers given. Rabbi Machiaboy Kigoin Kriyashma Ubir This year, now the shir they said by Shema that if you're mafsik long enough to complete Shema, how long is that shir? How long is it? Is that Kiyoin Kriya Shema B'Cheseha? Is it include the Kriya Shema and the brachas? Or is it He V'Loi B'Cheseha? Maybe it's only Kriya Shema. Or B'Cheseha V'Loi He, maybe it's only the brachas Kriya Shema. How about Freit Gemara Hifsik Shlisha because of Hifsik Shlisha because of Hifsik Shlisha? So he goes and he in this according to Bechain Kevsi is referring to Kriya Shema. I don't know if it would matter anyway. It could refer to the other Megillah also. Let's say he is mafsik a third, starts again, mafsik again a third, and does it a third time. So when you combine it all together, you have enough to complete the whole. You have enough to complete the whole Kriya Shema. But they didn't all happen at once. How about that? Are you yaitz? Uvekaira, and now the question is also vekaira misharim, uvechalad misharim. Whose speed? Is it the speed of the person who is reading it? In this case, maybe it's referring to the Megillah. Depends which mafarish you're learning with. Uvechaladim, or was it the average person? Was an average person take to complete, let's say, Kriya Shema or the Megillah? Rab Nassia, and according to Reb Chaim Kanievsky, Reb Chaim doesn't make sense to say that we're referring to the one who's actually the one who's reading it. According to the Carbon Ada, that statement is what a period. Lo mistaber b'kaira. In other words, not but the kaira with the particular person reading it. According to he says misharina. You go by the average person. Okay. Menashe, Rabbi Yosef Kumar Reb Zura, Menashe was sitting in front of Reb Zura, and Reb Zura was reading the Megillah, and he fell asleep. So Menashe fell asleep. Amalei, so Reb Zura said to him, Chazor lecho d'loi kavnes, you have to read it again because there's no way he could have had in mind. Now, when we said in the Mishnah that a person falls asleep while reading the Megillah, we mean literally while reading the Megillah. Because then he can say that he didn't really miss anything. But a person who's listening, he's a member of the audience, and he falls asleep, he's echamist. So we saw in the Mishnah because he was writing it, and we said, as long as he's mechaber, he can be yaitza. So what do we see from over here? We see from over here that it's mutter to do malacha and purim, which was actually subject to machlokes earlier. So the Gemara, after the Gemara, nema b'yudalid b'kroachim. Actually, no, he's talking about it's on the 14th. And the Mishnah is talking about where it was a Bankrach who happened to spend Yudalid right, in the city. So they hold Yudalid and he holds Tezvav. So you really have no proof over here that he can't, know, it's maybe Malachas Aser on his Purim, but his Purim is only the next day. Okay. That's according to Chaim Kanievsky. Carbonade learns differently. Darsha. And if he's darshaning it, as long as he keeps to the topic of Megillah or whatever pasuk is he's darshaning, then fine, then he could be yaitza. Umagi if he's correcting it. Tani emedaktikim b'to yoseha. We're not medaktik, which we don't really do today, but we're not medaktik if the balkari makes a mistake. You don't have to jump all over him. They were sitting in front of Rav, and they were laying, I guess they were laying the Megillah for him. Chadam Yehudim, v'chadam Yehudiyim. He didn't make either one of them go back and say that word. Yeah, Rabbi Yochanan have a kari kula Yehudim. Rabbi Yochanan didn't matter how it was spelled in the Megillah. He pronounced it all Yehudim. Reb Chelboi, Reb Yirmiyah b'Shem Rav, Kosev Echad Sefer. Right, as referring to the Megillah, Kosev Echad one pasuk calls it a Sefer, Kosev Acha Oimer Igeris. Another pasuk calls it an Igeris. So make up your mind: is it a Sefer or is it an Igeris? Right, it says in the Pesukim, it says, "Ma'amad Esther Kiem Divrei Purim Ha'elav V'Nichtav B'Sefer." And then the other pasuk says, it says, "V'Tichtav Esther Malka B'Asa V'Chal Mordechai Yehudi Et Kol Toikiv L'Kemes Igeres HaPurim Azois Hashenis." So, which is it? Okay, tzad. Kali Kilu B'Tfira So Shem Tafra Bo Shneim Shlosh Tachim Sheikshera. That there was a kula. Um, that they were noyig to treat the Megillah unlike a Sefer. A Sefer Torah has to be sewn completely the whole length of the area, and here they didn't require. They just could do two or three of them, and the two or three groups of stitches, and that was enough. Okay. Sagt der Mishnah Locha Gimel Ben Ir Sholchi Krach Ben Ir who lanes the Megillah on the 14th. Shalchle Krach, Krachem, Moshe Shubanon, they land the 15th, Ben Krach, Shalchle, vice versa. Im Asid Lachsel, if he's planning to go back to his original place, either one, and Karikim Kam, he reads like they do in his particular place. Im Lav Karimam, otherwise he's planning to stay, he reads with them. So the Gemara Nicha ben Krach Shalchle Ir, Shizmana Milcha, so this case makes perfect sense. Right? So Ben Krach, who reads on the 15th, who goes to the air, we read on the 14th, so his man is mocha, right? We say, right, if he's planning to go back, he doesn't have to read today on the 14th, he'll read tomorrow at his place on the 15th. But the opposite case, how do you figure that one out? Ben Ir Shalchli Krach, Vein's man in Muktim, he's already missed it. Rav Yudin, less kan Ben Ir Shalchli Krach, take it, don't be garrisit. Tanu the base Rebbe Cain Ben Krach Shaholach Leir, that they only Gairis Ben Krach Shaholach Leir based off our question. Amar Rabbi Yoyis, and according to Rechaim Kaneski, Gairis over here is Kan Ba'asid is Kan, that we are Gairis the case in reverse. In other words, Ben Ben Ir Shaholach Lekrach. We argues that, but also l'shtakeya imohen. But so we're talking about a case that he's planning to spend the 15th in the city. So going to the Rechaim Kanievsky climate, if he's planning to stay the 15th in the krach, right? Who the in a dalit? I will also lachso leir betezvav, right? But if he's planning to go back first on the 15th, so he would still read on the 14th, even if he's in the city, even if he's in the city now. Because by the time he goes back to the city, he's going to miss the lane.